on, guys? Trey Clark here, as I usually am. I'm going to jump right into this as I usually do. I hope you are all well, but today we're going to talk about the Honeypot system, and not just in the areas we're used to hearing about it. And we're going to talk about the New World Order currency and how there is absolutely nothing new about this currency. And it's not what you think. Well, maybe. So let's talk about the honeypot first. The honeypot is a term used for if you want to keep acting nefariously and doing bad stuff, then you don't want people rolling over you and looking over your shoulder and growing a conscience and ruining your day. So what do? You get their hands dirty. Then it can be as simple as shoplifting. Get someone else to do it. What are they going to do? Tell on you? Up to gang members. That's why they initiate people by committing crimes. Armed robbery, carjacking, worse. So once they do that, what are they going to do? Even if there's bad blood between that person and someone else, they're both stuck. So then you get into things like business, where people sign off on things that they don't really think about, or this is just the way it's done. I had a friend of mine that worked for Shell, or Coral, and he was just a trader. He's like, I just thought this is the way it was done. Next thing you know, he's going to court for 3 years just to keep himself out of jail for life, for fraud, around the Enron time. He wasn't a bad guy. I grew up with the guy. Had no intentions of breaking the law. And you get into politics, where it gets really interesting, and it's not always what you think. It's not always the Epstein thing and where you get caught with a picture with a hooker in your room and all that. I think most people that are at a high level, they're all kind of used to that anyway. So what are they going to do? If you think about, if you're in charge of, say you're in the military or you're in the White House and you're in charge of logistics for something like the Libya call, and that we are under duress, and you're just going under orders, but your name is on things because that's what you've been assigned to do, then it all goes to hell in a handbasket, and you're not really keen on the idea of being left holding the bag. So that kind of cuts out a lot of whistleblowers. Yes, the Epstein thing is probably the best example of that, but that was so long ago. I don't even know why we're bringing that up. That's just old news. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic that Epstein is out of the news cycle, period. Nobody's asking why. People have not been handcuffed and stuff. But there have been no arrests, and I think we're all ready to see that happen, but not really the topic of a lot of podcasts these days. Once you realize how that honeypot works, you can kind of see why things don't make sense. Like why you can see Comey go on TV and explain for 45 minutes every law that Hillary Clinton broke, but she's not going to get prosecuted. I mean, that's insane. So, but if you trace it back to ideas that Comey probably got compromised, maybe it was out of being a bad guy and making poor decisions, or maybe he got roped into something. Who knows? And I don't really care. I do care that they don't ever end up in jail. Strzok, these guys. And then the other part I want to talk about is the new world currency. And I want to set this up because I've been on both sides of the spectrum with Trump. I wasn't a Trump guy to begin with. And then he came in and I was like, okay, I can ride this out. Let's see what he does. And then he kind of took on China, and we were looking at the soy farmers, and I was like, man, I hope this works. Well, turns out a lot of things went really well with the economy, but I was still like, we'll see. And I still am, because I'm on the fence, and I'll get to why this is the new world currency that I'm making a topic. I'm still on the fence, to see how this is going to play out. Obviously there was a curveball, but I also know that he was part of the WWF or WWE or whatever in wrestling, where all this stuff is just to keep us busy. When you go see a magician, it's a show, and if you're watching the moving hand, the one that is right in front of your eyes waving, that's the one that's going to trick you. It's the one that you're not paying attention to. For instance, if all the bad stuff is going on in China and you're the ones doing bad stuff, Russia, Russia, Russia. No, China. Why are you doing tariffs on China? It's Russia. Everyone's a Russian asset, right? Trump, he's a spy. Tulsi's a spy. Everyone's a spy. But no, China. And then if you look at the people making these accusations, they're knee deep in selling the U.S. to China for the last couple of decades. Don't forget, Bush, HW, was the ambassador to China. You think he'd make a few friends, shake a few hands, line his pockets just a little bit? Now that we know what he was up to that whole time, some of the most horrible stuff ever. He's probably one of the biggest criminals that ever set foot on our soil. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just investigate Zapata and the Bushes and exactly what was going on there. That's a whole nother podcast. So the reason I'm talking about the new world currency is that I'm undecided about which side Trump is on, or if he's just kind of like filling a role to where he's not really on any side, but his job is to keep us busy, keep half the population that's probably the most dangerous, the right-wing, armed, patriotic people with spines instead of snowflakes for limbs and skeletal structures. These people are not stupid. So at some point you have to sit there and go, what the heck is going on? You got Comey letting Hillary off. You got Nancy Pelosi can say the most stupid idiot things and do them ever. AOC wants to rebuild every building in America and shut down flights, yet they still stick around. So there's got to be someone writing the script. Of course there is. It's the bankers, okay? And most of us know that the Fed has absolutely nothing to do with the federal government. Now, anyone that thinks that the President of the United States is the most powerful person in the world, you are sadly mistaken. It is the Fed. Whoever's running the Fed, Rothschilds, Morgans, all that stuff. And that's not all just conjecture. It happened. We handed our currency over to the Fed, to a group of bankers in the middle of the night. I think it was the day before Christmas Eve when there was no Congress in session, and it got voted on that they sold our future with, I think, 3 votes. And I need to fact check on that, but it's something that ridiculous. Well, in my generation, we've watched our future get sold not to bankers, although they're involved, but to China. And if you don't know much about the way China does business, it ain't like the West. They don't care. If it promotes China, do you think we're nationalists with Trump? China is whatever we need to do for the good of China and their future. And they are long-term sighted. We are short-sighted. We want to change things today. They can look at it and go, all right, in 200 years, we want to be here. And I learned quite a bit about that when I was studying their currency trading once they got on the market. So it was very, very eye-opening. They do not operate like us. Okay, so back to the new world currency. And it's going to seem like I'm shifting gears, but I'll tie this up. The new world currency isn't money. Okay? The people that are making the decisions, they already have all the money they need, and if they run out, they can print more. They do it all the time. It ain't money. They've got all the mansions, they got the jets, they do whatever they want. So having more, that extra $1 million is not the end game. Yeah, they'll take it. But the sad truth is, and all you have to do is really look around. You have to see if it's true and dig, and it will not take long till you find that the currency isn't money. It's children. It's just the truth. These people need children. They're psychopaths. They're not like us, and it doesn't register. And it's so hard to get it through our heads that there's this whole group of people, and they're not even underground because they would have to hide it, and they don't. They need children, and it is literally not just this figurative, Peter Pan deal where they just let kids run around. These guys are addicted to adrenochrome. It's at the core as to why everything seems so crazy. Everything seems so upside down because we cannot fathom how this would work. But now it's coming out. Now it's coming out that, Epstein Island happened. That wasn't that long ago, believe it or not. I was screaming about the Podesta brothers, but they're still running around. This is real. They traffic children for all kinds of reasons, but the main thing is adrenochrome. It is their drug. Now, how do you get adrenochrome? I'm not going to get into the physical way they extract it, but it's a lot like an animal. You torture or stress them out to the point where they release their adrenaline, and then you kill them. I don't know how they do that. I don't know the system, but that's what it is. And they know that the middle class are the people that are going to find them out or already have. It's not going to be the poor that barely have time to figure out where they're going to sleep that night. It's not going to be the rich who've already visited the honeypot. It's the middle class. Why do you think they want to kill the middle class? They want to be able to do all this stupid satanic crap without this pesky middle class butting in. This armed, patriotic group of people that actually do care about family and children, that are not psychotic lunatics that are in secret societies and secret handshakes and all that stuff. They need to get rid of us. And it's not that hard if we let them shut our businesses down. If we elect them into office to tax us to death, to where basically all we can do is keep the lights on, and then we're too scared to actually do anything. So don't kid yourself. That is what it is. The money is for us. The bread. And just think of us like ducks in a pond. We're just fighting over the crumbs they throw us. And in the meantime, they do what they do. And we're too busy fighting over money and paying our bills. The real poor are too busy just trying to not die. And the elites, it's funny that the people who bitch about the 1% the most are the 1%. You got Nancy Pelosi, who is literally supposed to be fighting for the working man, and she's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And that doesn't bother anyone. So at the end of the day, I start looking around and going, it's not the elites, it's not our leaders that I'm afraid of. I hate to say it, but it's the idiots that are everywhere that don't care. They want it to crumble. I don't know all their motives. Maybe they're all over the spectrum. But we're doing it wrong. And as far as Trump and me being on the fence with him, the one thing I can't reconcile when I'm trying to figure out a reason why I need to drop him, he did protect gun stores as essential to business. He's protecting the Second Amendment, and that's not what a future dictator does. He does not keep the community armed and ready to roll. So that's where I am with that. I hope you guys are good. I know I squeezed a lot of stuff into this, but there's a lot to think about. We are on a ticking clock. They are moving chess pieces into place strategically. They're taking New York on the coast and a couple other places, California, Kentucky, Just think about supply chains. Y'all have a great day. Thanks.
He had to give up the guitar to find a new life. Much to his band's dismay, he had to find a new way. His name is Trey.